Have you ever wondered what the world is truly waiting for? Not just another philosophy or some new idea, but an actual king. You know, for centuries, humanity has been searching for the perfect ruler, and that search, well, it always seems to end in disappointment. Today, we're going to dive into the Bible's really profound promise of a coming king and his thousand-year reign right here on earth.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We've seen empires that promised peace, kings that promised justice, revolutions that promised equality. And yet, history tells the same story, over and over again, doesn't it? Leadership fails, power corrupts, and kingdoms, they just fall apart. It's this universal problem that seems to be baked right into the human condition.
But what if the answer isn't another human system? The Bible makes this absolutely staggering claim that one day a king will not just inspire humanity, but will actually rule it. And we're not talking invisibly or symbolically, we're talking openly, right here on a restored earth.
And this right here is the core issue that sets the stage for a completely different kind of kingdom. This repeating cycle of flawed human governance is precisely what this ancient prophecy is all about. It promises a final, a permanent solution to a problem we all see in our world every single day. Okay, so let's get into this. Ancient Israel was surrounded by these colossal empires. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Rome. They ruled with iron fists, with terror, with glory, and with law. And yet, living in the shadow of these mighty powers, prophets started speaking of another kingdom, one that wouldn't rise from human conquest, but would descend from heaven itself.
Now, what's really fascinating about this is the consistency. We're talking across centuries, from different voices in totally different eras, and the message just kept repeating with this stunning clarity. All of history is moving toward a single divine throne.
So if history is pointing to a throne, who is the king? Well, the New Testament doesn't leave it as a mystery. It takes all these ancient prophecies and it identifies this coming ruler by name.
So the crucial point is this: Jesus is presented not only as a savior who deals with our sin, but explicitly as the prophesied king who will one day govern. He is both the sacrifice for humanity and the sovereign of humanity.
And this slide just brilliantly illustrates the two distinct phases of his work. When he first came, he wore a crown of thorns, a picture of ultimate humility, right? But when he returns, the prophecies say he's going to wear many crowns, revealing his absolute authority to rule.
So this brings us to a major tension, a big question. If Christ is the king, why does the world still look so broken? Why is there still so much rebellion and chaos?
The Bible itself actually foresaw this very paradox. This verse from Psalm 2 describes a period where the world is actively resisting God's authority. And history confirms it every day. Human hearts are still pushing back against divine rule.
And that's exactly why political solutions alone always fall short. Empires fall, governments change, but that root problem of sin and injustice, it survives. The biblical story, therefore, doesn't point to gradual human progress as the answer. It points to a future decisive moment of divine intervention. Now, that phrase, rod of iron, might sound a little harsh, but in this context, it actually symbolizes unshakable strength and perfect, unbending justice. It's not about cruelty. It's about an authority so righteous and true that it can finally bring lasting peace and order, something human governments have never, ever been able to achieve.
Okay, so let's dive into what this reign will actually look like. Because this isn't just some political shift, it's the fulfillment of humanity's deepest spiritual and political longings for peace and for justice.
This right here is the ultimate answer to the problem we started with: a leader who is perfectly just, perfectly wise, and whose kingdom is permanent. Isaiah says his government will never end. Daniel says all peoples will serve him. It's just a completely different reality.
And this is a really critical distinction to make. The ultimate hope presented in the Bible isn't just about souls escaping to some distant heaven. It's about heaven's king coming to rule a restored and reclaimed earth, bringing his perfect government right here with us.
So, this is a massive, world-changing prophecy. But what does this future promise mean for us, right now, living in a world that still feels so chaotic and broken?
Well, for the believer, it's this powerful reassurance that evil doesn't get the final word. Christ does. For someone whose faith might be struggling, it offers some much-needed perspective. The chaos we see is temporary, but the throne of Christ is permanent. And for the skeptic, it poses a profound question. What if history isn't random? What if it's actually moving toward a ruler truly worthy of it?
Ultimately, this whole message is an announcement of hope for the entire world. The King is not absent, he is coming. Not just to save individual hearts, but to reign over nations with perfect justice and peace. It's a vision that's both bold and concrete. A visible king, a real throne, and a kingdom that will have no end.
So that leaves us with this final thought to reflect on. Is this kingdom something we only experience inwardly and spiritually right now? Or is the Bible pointing to a literal, physical fulfillment that is still to come? It's a question that really shapes everything about how we see the future, and it's a hope that can anchor us right here in the present.